Tonight, millions dealing with the aftermath of that severe weather on the East Coast, the flood and power outages just ahead of the holidays. And there's another storm brewing. We have the details. High floodwaters trapping residents and sweeping vehicles off the road. Attacks on merchant ships in the Red Sea. What's being done to protect the critical trade route?
The United States, our allies and our partners will do what we have to do to counter these threats and to protect these ships.
Holiday shipping season is in full swing. How AI technology is thwarting porch pirates.
It's computers versus criminals, and we have to use every tech capability that we have.
It's just like something from a movie.
The stunning images coming out of Iceland after a volcano erupts, the fast-moving lava.
My dream is to be the first female Marine in the Olympics.
And our series, Profiles in Service, will introduce you to a Marine with hopes of becoming an Olympian and inspiring girls everywhere.
I want to be remembered as somebody that brought others along with me. Woo! That was great.
Good evening to our viewers in the West. I'm Nora O'Donnell, and thank you for being with us. There is breaking news tonight out of Colorado, where the state's Supreme Court just ruled that Donald Trump is disqualified to be president under the insurrection clause of the Constitution. We're going to have more on that news in just a moment. But we do want to begin with the weather, because less than 1 week before Christmas, hundreds of thousands of Americans are without power tonight after what the National Weather Service is calling a 100-year flood. An intense storm pummeled the Northeast and is still causing problems. 4 states are experiencing major flooding tonight. Rivers are still rising and inundating neighborhoods. Rescue teams tonight are working to get people out of their homes and cars. So far, the storm is blamed for at least 5 deaths from Florida to New England. CBS's Errol Barnett is going to lead us off tonight in Paterson, New Jersey. That is a city under a state of emergency. Good evening, Errol.
Good evening, Nora. The massive amount of rainfall we saw in this part of the country caused the Passaic River to go from picturesque to panic-inducing. It's overflowing its banks, triggering flood warnings, and of course putting lives at risk. It's a post-storm scene we are seeing repeated throughout the Northeast. The deadly storm system left scenes of flooding, buckled roads, and downed power lines in its wake from the mid-Atlantic to the Northeast. In Jackson Falls, New Hampshire, newly melted snow fueled raging rivers and floods. First responders were using drones to search for 2 people missing in Mexico, Maine. A swollen river caused by 5 inches of rain swept their car away on Monday. CBS affiliate WGME reporter Owen Kingsley is in Franklin County, one of the 14 under a state of emergency.
Here in Carrabassett Valley, you can see a temporary replacement being made on this road, as several people are currently trapped at a local ski resort. For others around the state, they could be waiting days until their repairs can be made.
Take a look at the ongoing flood risk here at Great Falls in Paterson, New Jersey. Typically, 2 billion gallons of water pass through here every day. Right now, it's at major flood stage. Throughout the state, multiple first responders rescued a handful of residents from inundated homes. Drew Marasco waded through chest-deep floodwaters outside of his pool construction company in Pompton Plains. Inside the business, the water was nearly 5 feet deep.
We were in there trying to salvage everything, welders, tools, toolbox drawers, which probably aren't up high enough now.
In Lincoln Park, a fire consumed this house. Firefighters struggled to get through floodwater to battle the blaze. Now that the storm system is history, airline delays and cancellations have been minimal as the TSA braces for the rush of holiday travelers. Now, some relief is in sight, with most major flooded rivers throughout the Northeast having reached their peaks, and that includes the Passaic, but problems persist. The mayor of Little Falls, for example, a town southwest of where I'm standing now, has issued an evacuation order, Nora, because he says overnight water rescues are just too dangerous.
Yeah, very dangerous out there. Errol Burnett, thank you so much. And we want to know what the weather forecast is, because it's top of mind for the 115 million holiday travelers. So let's bring in meteorologist Mike Bettis with our partners at the Weather Channel. Good evening, Mike.
Nora, good evening. Still dealing with the aftermath of the big rain that we saw yesterday across the Northeast. Some locations picked up more than half a foot of rain. Places across New York and New Jersey, 5 inches or more. That, of course, led to rivers coming up very, very quickly and staying high. Many of the rivers over the next couple of days will remain in major flood stage as they recede very, very slowly. The weather has improved there, but it's going downhill across the West Coast, including a major storm off the Northern California coast tomorrow that slides down into Southern California. What that will lead to is very heavy rain in L.A., Santa Barbara, San Diego. That could lead to some mudslides. Watching for rain in burn scar areas after wildfires. That could lead to some issues. And when you look at this, likely flooding Thursday into Friday, Nora, when many people be on the roads for holiday travel, this could be a lethal combination.
All right, Mike, thank you so much. Let's turn now to some breaking news in the 2024 presidential election. A ruling just coming down from Colorado's Supreme Court. The majority of the justices in the state declared Donald Trump is ineligible, saying he should not be allowed on the state's primary ballot. CBS's Robert Costa is here with us. All right, Robert, this is the first state to do this. How big of a threat is this to Trump?
It's an explosive moment in the 2024 presidential campaign. So far, the January 6th trial has been looming as Trump's biggest challenge as the Republican frontrunner, now disqualified from the primary ballot in a key swing state. This is disrupting how Republicans tonight are talking to me about his leading rival, former Ambassador Nikki Haley, wondering if Trump's legal challenges push his campaign out of the mainstream, if he's someone who's going to have to challenge us all the way to the Supreme Court. And in fact, in a statement tonight, the Trump campaign said, quote, the Colorado Supreme Court issued a completely flawed decision, and we will swiftly file an appeal to the Supreme Court.
And there are lawsuits like this challenging Trump's candidacy in some 25 states. So
Minnesota, New Hampshire, and so many others. This is the courtroom is the campaign trail.
Interesting. Robert Costa, thank you so much. Tonight, the war between Israel and Hamas is impacting oil prices and the global supply chain as cargo ships and tankers change course to avoid being attacked by Iranian-backed militia in Yemen. CBS's Ramiro Inocencio reports tonight on the new action the Pentagon is taking.
Some of the world's biggest shipping and oil companies are now rerouting their vessels away from the Red Sea after brazen attacks like this one by Iranian-backed Houthi rebels. A dozen ships attacked in just the past month. The Navy destroyer USS Carney has been shooting down drones and missiles launched from Houthi-controlled territory in Yemen in support of Palestinians in the Gaza war.
If one of these drones or missiles actually hits, we could not only see a disruption to shipping, but a complete closure of the Red Sea.
10 to 15% of global trade normally passes through, worth an estimated $1 trillion. Fearing Houthi attacks, ships are turning off transponders, hiring armed guards, and several companies are sailing around Africa.
Not only is it going to be several weeks of delay, but they're also going to have a higher cost.
On the price of oil and on the entire supply chain, a pain consumers will feel.
We've launched Operation Prosperity Guardian.
In the region, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin announced a new task force to try to stop Houthi attacks, a 10-country military alliance with the intent to grow. So far, the only country from the Middle East to sign on is the tiny nation of Bahrain. In Gaza, Israel's bombardment continues, with nearly 20,000 people now killed, says Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry. Israel's military says it's dismantled Hamas's northern brigade and taken control of Jabalia. Strikes that hit the refugee camp there killed at least 50. More strikes in southern Rafah killed almost 30 others. I lost 2 grandchildren, said this woman, one just 2 weeks old. She didn't even get her birth certificate.
And just hours ago, militants in Gaza released 2 more videos of hostages, and this is the second such release in 2 days. That comes as leaders from both Israel and Hamas are signaling they are open to a new pause and a new hostage release deal. Nora.
Ramy Inocencio, thank you. We turn now to the spectacular eruption of a volcano in Iceland. The remote island nation is a popular tourist destination this time of the year for the Northern Lights. But now sightseers and residents are being warned about the dangers of lava and toxic gas spewing from the volcano. Nick Beek, a reporter with our partners at the BBC, is there.
Fountains of gold, Iceland's own breathtaking winter illuminations. The fiery jets blasting through the surface of the volcano, creating a rupture more than 2 miles long.
This is just fascinating to see just nature in action. It's just like something from a movie.
Crucially, the lava has been flowing away from the nearest town. Grindavik, a fishing community home to 4,000 people, was evacuated last month when the volcano first showed signs it could blow.
We had cleared the town and the area, and now we're just securing the area and closing every road to the area.
Experts worry the gases that continue to spurt out are polluting the air. But they say there won't be a giant ash cloud like 13 years ago. That's because this volcano system is not trapped under glaciers. It may be that the most memorable part of this Christmas performance is over, but they're not letting down their guard here. Tonight we're at the edge of the exclusion zone that's been set up to protect people here. The volcano is still burning bright. The government in Iceland saying for now it doesn't pose a risk to people living round here. Nora?
Nick Beek, thank you. President Biden delivered a heartfelt eulogy today at the funeral for Supreme Court Justice Sandra Day O'Connor, the first woman to serve on the nation's highest court. The president called O'Connor gracious and wise, civil and principled. We get more from CBS's Jan Crawford.
The path Sandra Day O'Connor blazed changed the nation. And as she was laid to rest, thousands came to pay respects to the historic first.
May God bless Sandra Day O'Connor.
Congratulations.
The president was in the Senate 42 years ago when she was confirmed unanimously, something unimaginable today. But as Chief Justice John Roberts said, she lived her life showing what was possible.
Sandra Day O'Connor had to study and launch a career in the law when most men in the established profession did not want women lawyers, let alone judges.
She learned the values of hard work and independence growing up on an Arizona cattle ranch. Perseverance when no law firm would hire her as a top graduate from Stanford, and political savvy in the Arizona Senate. On the Supreme Court, she was known as a swing vote who opposed overturning Roe v. Wade. She was revered for helping her colleagues find common ground.
Quite simply, she was a force of nature.
Jay O'Connor, the youngest of her 3 sons, said she wrote instructions for her funeral and a letter to be unsealed on her death. In it was also one final message.
Our purpose in life is to help others along the way. What a beautiful, powerful, and totally Sandra Day O'Connor sentiment.
America! It was the message of her life, and live it she did.
Now, Justice O'Connor liked to say it's good to be the first, but you don't want to be the last. And that's another part of her legacy, Nora. Today, there are 4 women on the Supreme Court.
Beautiful tribute. Jan Crawford, thank you so much. And as we get ready for the holidays, lost and stolen packages are a top concern. An estimated 260 million packages disappeared in the U.S. last year, many of them taken right from the front door while a camera was recording. Tonight, CBS's Janet Shamlian reports on how one delivery company is using artificial intelligence to fight back.
'Tis the season for porch pirates. Almost 1 in 4 adults had a package stolen in the last 12 months.
This time of year, we ship a lot of gifts, so every package can be very special to the person that's receiving it.
Tarek Saab is president of Texas Precious Metals, and that's what he ships, gold and silver.
This is a tube of gold from the Austrian Mint. This is a 1-ounce silver bar, a 10-ounce silver bar, and a 100-ounce silver bar.
This year, he's using a new UPS data program called Delivery Defense. What does Delivery Defense do for your company?
Delivery Defense helps us identify addresses that are likely targets for porch piracy.
So how does this work?
At UPS World Headquarters, we got to look at how it works.
And that's really where you start.
By simply entering a recipient's address, the AI-powered program produces a score.
So for this particular address, we've got a score of 929.
A high score indicates a high likelihood of a successful delivery based on years of data from previous deliveries, including lost and stolen packages. For addresses with a low confidence score, the merchant can reroute the item with the customer's okay to a UPS store or other pickup location.
Have a great day.
UPS Capital President Mark Robinson.
About 2% of the addresses would be considered low confidence, and we're seeing that represents about 30% of the losses our customers are having.
At Texas Precious Metals, they believe technology can reduce those numbers.
We recognize it's computers versus criminals, and we have to use every tech capability that we have to try to circumvent any challenges that we might run into.
An effort to make every delivery as good as gold. Janet Shamlian, CBS News, Atlanta.
There's an alarming update tonight on that nationwide recall of contaminated applesauce. We have the details next. The number of suspected cases of lead poisoning from contaminated applesauce has nearly doubled in the past week to at least 205 cases. 3 brands of cinnamon applesauce fruit pouches have been recalled, including Wanabana, Schnucks, and Weiss. Tonight, the FDA warns that recalled products are still on shelves at Family Dollar and Dollar Tree combination stores, saying customers should not buy them. The FDA says the cinnamon that was added to the applesauce was contaminated with extremely high concentrations of lead. A trailblazing 26-year-old Marine sets her sights on the Winter Olympics. Her profile in service is next. Now to our series, Profiles in Service, highlighting veterans and active duty members of the military who are making a difference in their communities. Tonight, we introduce you to one Marine with an Olympic dream and hopes of inspiring girls everywhere.
I love serving my country. I can't think of a better job than being a United States Marine officer.
Captain Riley Tejak can do anything.
How do you deal with adversity and challenges?
I think dealing with adversity, I want to do things that are hard. I want to be tested. I want to see where my limits are mentally, physically, and emotionally.
Tejak did just that when she joined the Marines. Only 9% of the Corps are women.
My goal is you aren't the only woman that walks into the room where it's filled and you don't even notice anymore because you have a seat at every single table.
For now, the 26-year-old is working toward a different goal.
My dream is to be the first female Marine in the Olympics.
And will your day job interfere at all with your dream?
I'm a Marine 24/7, and that's my priority. And I'm just blessed and fortunate for the Marine Corps just backing me and being behind me through this journey. But at the same time, it's exhausting, and that's what makes it fun. If it was easy, anyone would do it.
Tejak manages work at Quantico and intense training as a bobsled pilot.
We're going to get warmed up really fast,
including constant competitions and twice daily workouts.
Go.
Her hard work is paying off.
She's fast.
She's ranked 14th in the world.
What's the best part of bobsledding?
Oh, the speed. The speed and the adrenaline. Going 90+ miles an hour down an ice track and competing wearing Team USA across my chest.
Representing America as a competitor, a Marine, and an inspiration to young women and girls.
Good job.
Riley, what do you want your legacy to be?
I want to be remembered for how I make people feel. I don't want to be remembered for all the things that I did and the accomplishments and the medals. I want to be able to create a path big enough that multiple people can run through it and accomplish things that they never thought was possible and kind of create a roadmap to do it.
Well, Captain Tejak hopes to make the 2026 Winter Olympics team. And if she didn't have enough going on, Riley wrote a children's book about inspiring little girls to dream big, and that is out this summer. I loved meeting her. A story for the season about giving back. That's next.
Tonight's Profiles in Service segment is sponsored by RTX.
We want to end tonight on a high note with a young man spreading holiday joy in the town of McAlester, Oklahoma, where a small act of kindness has grown into one of the largest toy drives in the state.
The line, more than 3 miles long. The gifts packed a drive-through warehouse, and Santa and his helpers were ready for the big day. On this day, with the help of 4-H, more than 10,000 toys will be given away. It's the idea of 18-year-old Reed Markham, who started this 7 years ago when he noticed his classmates needed school supplies.
And so it kind of clicked in my brain. It's like Christmas is not a cheap holiday. People are going to struggle with this too.
Markham is helping people with that struggle.
Awesome, dude.
Through donations, he's given out more than 64,000 toys.
The holiday spirit, it's in everyone. I mean, it's the joy of giving. It's not the joy of getting. It's the joy of giving and seeing the people's reaction to what you're doing for them.
And that is what the holiday season is about. Well, that's tonight's CBS Evening News. I'm Norah O'Donnell in Washington. Good night.